Hello Kaiju fans, welcome back to the Kaiju World Order. My name is MM, and today we are going to be talking about something that hasn't been talked about much regarding to IDW Comics and even the DC crossover with the Monsterverse. Now, IDW Comics has been pumping out these comics faster than a truck driver eating 3-day-old Taco Bell, if you know what I mean. And a certain issue now has come up, possibly because of that, or because they just don't have the correct or even good artists involved with some of these comics. Now, I am very far behind on my comic reading. A matter of fact, I will show you right here. Almost every single one of these I have yet to fully read. And yeah, you know, adult life, working 10-hour days, I don't usually read a lot. So, when Godzilla vs. Kong versus the Justice League came out, there was a bit of issue with the Godzilla and some of the other monsters. You could tell the artwork was literally just lifted from screenshots of the monsters. And it worked for some scenes it didn't. But it is what it is. This issue doesn't seem to be going away with the next Godzilla vs. Kong vs. Justice League, whatever you want to call it. Because just looking at this here cover, that Ghidorah is literally just the Monster Arts Ghidorah. Just drawn. So, you can even pinpoint it down to the picture that they used for it. Is it tracing? I doubt it. Is it an artist just Googling the monster and then just finding a picture and recreating it free-handed? Probably. Is that tolerable? I don't know. I don't know standards when it comes to comic books and everything like that. I just don't know if this is an issue that's been around for a long time. Like, do Marvel constantly copy, say, figure arts poses that are in publications? I don't know. But now IDW has lifted this to a whole new bar. I am a big fan of the Godzilla Here There Be Dragons story, even though I've only read the first mini-series. I haven't read the sequel, Sons of Giants. And honestly, I didn't even realize until very recently that they were doing a third entry of this called Here There Be Aliens. And it looks like the artist is, or has been, completely replaced. And just like the DC issues, you can straight up tell that they have just used some Monster Arts figures as basis for the monsters. This is a cover right here, and that is clearly just a promotional picture for the latest Monster Arts Space Godzilla. I don't know how much a comic artist gets. I don't know how much time they get to work on an issue. I'll cover my thoughts on that near the end of this. But that's just, even on the cover, that just seems lazy as hell. But the good stuff isn't just this. Here's a shot of King Caesar. Does it look familiar? It's the Magic the Gathering King Caesar. Yeah. Here is a shot of Titanosaurus. He's getting shot by something, I don't know what. Pose look familiar? It should, because here's Matt Frank's Titanosaurus. But it doesn't stop there with previous, art that's actually been officially released for cards and comics. Here's a shot of Space Godzilla, which is very clearly Dope Pope's redesign of Space Godzilla, down to the same exact angles and pose, or whatever you want to call it. Oh boy. So, yeah, I don't know how artists deal with that from one another. I don't know if this is a common issue or a common trick that's used by comic writers and artists, or if this is just an artist that felt lazy and just Googled it and, alright, I'm just gonna call it a day. Or is it a rush job? I don't know. If it's a rush job, I don't think that excuses it whatsoever. Because if you look at previous comics from guys like Jeff Zornow and Matt Frank, Bob Eggleton, you name it, all of them have been put under pressure to get stuff done, including even guys like James Stokoe, or Stoku, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he wasn't even a, big name in the community until he got into the Godzilla comics, as far as I know. And his work is outstanding, and this issue isn't there at all. And I've often heard about the crunching that comic artists and everything have to do, and I'm not trying to call it out or anything here, but as a guy who just works 10-hour days in a factory, and I make, well, I'm not going to give exact numbers on what I make, but I make enough to just get by with my collecting. I got my own apartment, my dog, and everything. And then you have artists, which I'm imagining the artist here for Here There Be Aliens, probably always wanted to be a comic artist. And now he's one. I don't know how much money they make, but you're gonna sit there and tell me that you're crunched to the point where you can't even be bothered to change up a pose on a monster. You can't change up something in your, I don't want to call it theft. I don't want to call it tracing, because I don't think that's what it is. I think it's just someone who's clearly a good artist just being able to look at something and pretty much recreate it by hand. Which is fine. I wish I had that talent 100%. But if you have that talent, there's no excuse on why you're pretty much just copy and pasting, say, Matt Frank's Titanosaurus or Magic the Gathering's King Caesar. Let alone stuff like Dope Pope's Space Godzilla, which isn't an official thing, so you literally just took some fan art and copied it and then put it in a comic. I know a lot of people are up in arms about AI, and as far as I'm concerned, I do think AI has a time and a place on when it should be used. But if this type of stuff keeps going, I can see it becoming more of an issue than AI art ever will be. I'm hoping this is just a one-time thing. I haven't heard too much about any other series having this issue. Even comics that I didn't care for, like, say, Monsters and Protectors, with the art style that I just can't stand, at least the art was unique. You can tell that they didn't just copy and paste a Godzilla picture in their own art style. And that's what happened here with Here There Be Aliens, and then to an extent with the DC crossover, even though I don't think that's as big an offender as the IDW one, if only because the DC ones, as far as I know, I could be wrong, have only used screenshots of the monsters from the movies and now toys. Hopefully they won't get into the same habit as IDW did here, and hopefully IDW can just cut that shit out following this Here There Be Aliens. If not, I could see myself losing interest and support for these comics, which would be absolutely horrible. I really, really hope we see Jeff Zornow and Matt Frank come back for the IDW comics, because as far as I'm concerned, Rulers of Earth, with it did have its flaws here and there, was the best Godzilla comics since Dark Horse's run in the 1990s. And really, that's all I wanted to say on this. It's It's a rather stupid issue. Lazy issue. But anyway, Kaiju fans, peace out, and I will see you guys next time, and till then, mean ya.
Godzilla says you should like and subscribe.